Hey guys.
Hey guys, we are excited again to be here another Thursday where we are trying to encourage you to create your own opportunities and not give up on your dreams. So welcome again to Too Legit to QT, where you can get it done with Tish.
And be on your come up with me, Koya. Koya, that's my name.
So we are so excited today. We are going to talk about ways that you can get it done. Everything you
get your own opportunity.
Yeah, and create your own opportunity. We're going to give you some tools, some resources where you can create your own opportunities. It's going to kind of give you an idea of how we were also able to create our own opportunities, how we were able to start some of our businesses. So hopefully these tools will help you guys. So one of the first things that I want to talk about is that you just have to start somewhere. To start, I know a lot of people think that you have to have all these things in order to start creating an opportunity. You really don't. You really just need to get yourself in the right mind frame, understanding that there's going to be a lot of work and that it's to accomplish a specific goal. It's not your overall dream. It's not your overall vision. It's a specific goal that will help you get to the next step. So I know Koya always is very, very, she's very, very, what's the word? Say something. Well, you always talk about mindset. You always talking about mindset. So
you gonna pass it to me. You gonna pass it to me. Okay.
I am.
Well, so for everybody that I see succeeding, you look around and you see so many people who are achieving their dreams and they're achieving success in the areas that they want to achieve success in. But for every person that I see doing that, I know like 50 other people who are still struggling, trying to figure out how they too can replicate that and like achieve their dreams. And I know for me personally, mindset is huge because half the time it's not really doing the thing that is the problem. It's getting myself in the mindset to do the thing that I need to do to achieve the goal. And like you just said, Tish, how do you start? That's pure mindset. Mm-hmm. You have to be in a mindset to where you're like, okay, I'm actually going to sit down or go and put the effort into doing whatever it is that I need to do, whether it's a business plan, whether it's, doing research on how to form an LLC, whether it's, writing a script, whatever it is, your mind, you have to be in the right mindset to even start. And a lot of people, I won't say that. If you look at people who are operating on a high level, they take their mindset very seriously. I mean, Gary Vee is like Jesus to them. They're constantly listening to like motivational podcasts. They're reading motivational self-help books. Anybody that's in business that's operating at a super high level, and Tish, you've even told me some of your mentors that are like multimillionaires. If you go into their house, they have tons of books that are on like self-help because they have to get themselves in the mindset to start. And so I really think that just starts with like mindfulness, like people, meditation, breathing, and reading books that enhance, enhance your thinking. They change your negative thinking. Also to podcasts. I know a lot of people, that live in New York, even if you drive to work, listening, and we've talked about this before, but tuning out that negative internal conversation. If you don't have any negative internal conversation, then this podcast is not for you. But I know that most of us, we have negative internal conversation. And so mindset is huge. And once you get your mindset right, then you can start. So get that together and then start. And then the thing about it is that is part of mindset, because my number one quote when I was starting my YouTube channel was, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act in the presence of fear. So even though my mindset was jacked up and I was like, I have to have all of these things, I have to be perfect to do this thing and accomplish this goal, because I was constantly working on my mindset, I was able to remember a quote, or it took root in my heart and in my mind, that quote, to where when I was feeling negative about the situation, when I couldn't get myself in the mindset to start, that quote resonated with me. And I was like, you know what? I'm scared. I'm, fearful about doing these things, but it's not the courage. It's not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act in the presence of fear. So I'm going to act and I'm going to just do it.
Yeah, but let's get a little deeper with that, right? Because, I'm the type of person, and I'm going to say this for the people. I'm a very hands-on person. I'm a very technical person, but things can be overwhelming when I'm doing a lot of research, right? It can be extremely overwhelming. And I remember I was trying to start a YouTube channel, Sean Cannell. I really love his stuff. I took one of his classes, and it was just so much information that I was just like, it was information overload for me,
Right.
And what I felt like worked for me, and a lot of people aren't like that. They're not like me, where they can understand that it's information overload and they can just simplify the process for themselves. But I feel like when you're starting out, simplify the process for yourself.
Right.
Don't make it this huge process where you have to have all these things together, because once you start doing that, it becomes like another job or a task. And when you're creating your new opportunity, you want it to be fun. You want to enjoy the process. You want it to be something that, it's not going to be that overwhelming. And I remember even when we were starting our company, I was like, oh, I want this to be really fun. Do you remember me saying that?
I was going to say, can we get it to the T? Because that's my whole life. I'm always information overload. And then Tish, you're really good at, okay, wait a second. Let's break this down into tangible steps. So the first thing you need to do is this. I'm like, oh, I don't know what's happening. This is too much. And you're like, no. A plus B equals C, right. And then D will happen.
That is real, because even when you're talking about people who get, even when you get an opportunity, it's something about where we decide that we want to have anxiety about all the things to come, instead of kind of focusing in on what it is that we can accomplish right now, and then allowing ourselves to just kind of move along the process. And it might not happen quick. And I think the thing is, everybody thinks everything has to happen quick, but real opportunity doesn't come in a second, And I mean, I think that some people are very, very lucky to where they've been exposed to something, because that's what happens these days. You can get exposed to something and someone can see you. But it all starts from an act.
But that's an exception, not the rule.
But even that exception comes with an act. That means you had to have done something in order for you to be in a position for someone to look at you. And then after that, they have an expectation, right? So it's not even that, oh, you're going to get this opportunity. There's an expectation for you to take it a little bit further. So being in the right mindset gets you prepared for the opportunity to come as well. It doesn't stop with the opportunity. On the other side of the opportunity, there's expectation, and people want you to excel. So you're going to have to start there, so that when you do excel, that you're not going to fail at excelling.
Right. And can I so I'm part of this group, and one of the things that just in the group, and then with my friends and whatnot, an exercise that has really helped me with starting, because I tend to get very highly overwhelmed. I mean, it's just a truth moment. I get highly overwhelmed with things, especially when there's just a huge magnitude of the stakes or whatever. And one of the things that I forget where I got it from. I don't know if I got it from my therapist or whatever, is a reframe. It's a reframe, and it's kind of like a way to settle your thoughts. Basically, it's really simple. What you do is, instead of having that negative internal conversation, whether it's your fear of something, fear of failure, fear of starting, whatever, instead of having it run in your mind like a, old movie or just like a song, what you can do is, and what has been very helpful for me is, I say, okay, I literally do a brain dump, which we talked about. I write out all of my fears pertaining to that particular thing, whatever the project is. I write out everything I'm afraid about, everything that I'm not even just fearful about, but excited about, but mostly negative. And I just write it all out. And I'll say, well, I'm scared of this and I'm scared of that. And, I don't know if I'll have the capacity to do this. And I don't know if I can deliver. And I'll just get it all out. And once I look at the list, I say, okay, well, on the other hand, let's take a realistic look and assessment at this. So I'll come out of myself and say, if I was looking at my fear or my failure, my fears of this, as not as myself, but as a person, like a friend. So then you look at it like you would talk to your friend. I did this recently, and all of my fears was well, technically this is not true because this person has shown you X, Y, and Z. And then technically, you do have time because this means this or that. And that conversation, that exercise has really helped me because sometimes I can't stop the train of the negative thoughts. And so writing everything down, that's what it is. You say, so what if? So for every question, it's and it's an anxiety exercise. You say okay, well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens? Oh, so then you say, okay, what if that happens? Now what? And then you write an answer to it. And what I find is that when I write the answer to that, a lot of my fears are actually not justified. And I'm only looking at the worst case scenario, not the positive. And it's been really helpful just to help me not to be so overwhelmed and to keep my feelings at bay. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. You can do it with anything. You can do it with your business. You can do it with your things in your personal life. Just kind of confronting your fears and just saying, okay, well, what if that happens? Then what?
And I think there's a difference also between being cautious and then being having negative thoughts. And I think there's a difference. I think that we sometimes as a society, we like to associate cautiousness with, with fear, and it's just two different things. What I would say to those out there is, there's nothing wrong with you being cautious, being you know what, I can't do this because if I do this, it's gonna mess with my coin. That's being cautious, right? Being fearful is being this is just too much. I can't do this. Right. All this is going to take all that, and it's really not just assessing and literally you have to dissect the process. You have to create little boxes for each part of the process. So Darkoya and I are going to get into that because what we did first and foremost, and let's talk about our business. We started a business together. It was called J14, or it is called J14 Publishing. It is a publishing company for to help us create content that motivates kids, but also for us to do production, to do music, to do books. We're going to be publishing content from that production company. And when we started our process, we didn't even have a publishing company, first and foremost.
No.
We literally were in a living room and we were just
church.
We were just sitting there, and I was just she was talking about the songs that she was.
No, we were in church, Bessie.
Were you in church?
Girl, yes, we were in church, and that lady shushed us we were 5, and we were super shamed, and we were oh. And I was well, I want to do this. And you're okay, so well, actually, I know somebody, blah, blah, blah. I want to do that. Remember? And she shushed us. And then we went home and we
okay, that probably is true. But what I remember us doing is we were sitting on the couch and we were talking about, okay, what kind of motivational things that we're going to talk about. And you started talking about the song Dream that we created. And then we were oh yeah, we got to do something with glitter because kids love glitter. Right. Oh yeah, we got to do something with this and that. And we just literally, and we were we don't need much. We don't need to do 10 songs. We only need to do 5 or 6, right?
Right.
And then I was all right, bestie, You get in your creative bag, you start writing the songs, because she was already, guys, she was already creating songs for the kids in her imagination and singing it to the kids. So it wasn't a reach. It wasn't a reach. She was already doing this. So I said, just do it a little more. Do what you're already doing, right?
And I had the motivation channel. So I was already like in the realm of motivation, and we had the whole conversation about, well, you know, I'm sick and tired of this generic motivation and everybody trying to like motivate us to do X, Y, and Z. We need to do stuff with kids because we need to reach them at like a younger level. And what do we wish we had when we were kids? I remember we started talking about Sesame Street.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got to a point where it took her, it wasn't even like an overnight thing. It took Darkoya and creative process 2 weeks to come up with the songs. But when she came up with the songs, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks. It took you 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, but y'all, I was stressed out about it. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I got into my creative
but you know what we did? You know what we did? When we committed to it, right? Because that's the first thing we did. We figured out what your talent was. We figured out what it is that you can do. We identified that, right? And then we identified not your talent, but your skill. We identified not your talent, but your skill, right? It was just something that came naturally. Why? Because you had been trained in theater for years. That's a skill of yours. You had gained that skill over a period of time. It wasn't even a stretch for you, because guess what? You were already doing it for many, many, many years, right? So it wasn't like, oh my gosh, because this is like the career that I want to go through. It was more so like, this is my skill and I can do this right now. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And what we did was, the first thing we did after we learned that was we set a deadline. I said, okay, we need this done by this time. And she was really tough on herself about that deadline. She was really
stressed out about it. Wait. It was 3 weeks. Because remember when the deadline came, I was like, I'm almost done. I got one more song. I'm halfway done with it. And I was like, I was stressed out about asking for the extra week.
And I was like, yeah, Bestie, go ahead. Take next week. I mean, it wasn't a big thing. But the point was that she started, right?
I did.
Then after that, I was like, I know this guy, Steve O'Reilly, guys. Big ups to Steve O'Reilly, who created the music for our album. We knew Steve. I knew Steve from some projects that I was on prior, and I reached out to him, and he loved it. See, and that's the thing, right? When you start getting your bag and adding to your team, the people who you add to your team, they have to show passion towards what you're doing. Because you don't have a lot of money, okay? Let's just get real about that. We didn't have a lot of money, okay?
Well, let's talk about that, because even when we set the deadlines, we also had to like go get the money. So it was like, okay, now we got to hustle for this, because we need to like, when we found Steve, we needed to pay for but we didn't even. What I do think that's a very valid point. But before we even got to that, right? We went to Steve and we were like, Steve quoted us and told us what we need. Yeah. And then Darkoya was like, you want to know what? I'll babysit an extra 2 weekends to get this money. And I was like, all right, Bestie, I'm going to have to hustle and find another job to do this. Yeah. And we made a decisive decision that we were going to hustle to complete that goal. It wasn't the overall album that we were hustling for. We were only hustling so that he could create the music, and then he could get her into the so that she could get into the studio. But that was a separate thing, because we had to get he quoted us to get the songs done, to get the songs composed.
Oh yeah, you're right. So we took it step by step, and that's how we created our album. But from that, after we did the songs and he did the music, then we had to get her in the studio so that the music and the lyrics could be matched in together. Okay, and that was the whole process.
Yeah,
the whole process.
It was.
After we did all that, then we got the music copyrighted. That was a whole process.
Yeah, and the 50 million other things. But
but we had to get the music copyrighted, right? We got the music copyrighted, and this is important. Even though we were working together, and Darkoya is my best friend, she is. We started a company together. We had a contract.
Yeah, we did.
Our investment. We put a contract together, so this could be out of the way. There's when we are working together, there's no anything. We're not thinking in the back of our head because it's all on paper. So we put a contract together between the two of us.
Yeah.
We put an LLC together in both of our names.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about. I'm not going to go in depth. We're going to do a whole episode on the LLC, but when we created our LLC, we decided that we were going to do it in the state of Delaware because Delaware has really great benefits for entrepreneurs. I looked it up. I think there's a website called LLC. I'll get the website for you guys before the end of the show, but there is an LLC website where it gives you like the benefits of each state. Like Wyoming, I think I mentioned this before. If you go to Wyoming and you know that you have marital issues, that's the best state for you. If you know that your person is kind of shysty, you might want to go to Wyoming because they won't consider your company in Wyoming as part of your settlement. So there's other states for tax reasons, but for us, when we decided to do our LLC, we really wanted to take advantage of the legislation and the tax benefits of doing it in Delaware. Then we had to get an EIN. EIN, you can just go to irs.gov. It's free. You can get it the same day. Yeah, you can get it the same. You can get it the same day. Yeah. So we did that. We had to put more money into that. It cost us like $300 or $400 to get that started. Yeah.
And let's talk about that too, because we keep really meticulous records. And if I were to look at the money that we put into this now and like back then, that would have overwhelmed me. Like, how am I going to do this? How is this going to happen? But it literally happened step by step. And I think that too, guys, who, those of you who are watching, we always go to this plan, even when we're doing new ventures. Tish is like, well, wait, let's reel it back because we didn't start this in a day. We have to take it step by step. That's the only way that this is going to go. And I also want to piggyback off of what Tish said about the contract. Guys, having a contract, even with your family members, I don't care what nobody say. If you and your family members have purchase property together, if you start a business, have your paperwork together. And some people, they look at it like, like it's like maybe you don't trust the person or you're setting it up to fail. Absolutely not. It's to benefit both parties. You could be it could be something where like somebody could be trying to maybe come after that person. And because you're housed in an LLC and you have a contract in a certain way, your business is safe. It's not just for like, oh, do I trust you and all that? And if it's you guys having the issue, it's to protect you both, and not necessarily to protect you from each other, but also from outside entities. And so many people, so many artists, they work together and they think just because they're doing stuff in their houses or making content in their garage or just on their iPhone that they don't need to have a contract. I learned the hard way, have a contract. We have non-compete clauses in the contract. We have, even when we're talking to people, they sign NDAs. Like we don't play. And I'm going to say this specifically too, for people of color. I see it so much that there's a huge disparity. Like we do, like, I want us to handle our business correctly versus getting caught up in the emotionality of things. It is okay. It doesn't mean you're not loyal. It doesn't mean that, you're not trustworthy. It's a business. There's money in place and you are in business. I trust Tish with my whole life. Like she knows like my social security number, my tax info. Like I don't care. She knows my passwords, and vice versa. But we're in business together because this is a partnership and it's a marriage, literally. Like we're married. We have arguments like married people, and then we have to like come to a place of agreement like a married people. Like it's like she's my wealth partner and she's my best friend. So the contract, no matter what you're doing, whether you're hiring a videographer for even something as simple as a YouTube channel, have the contract. And Tish, you can kind of talk about like getting contracts and whatnot. Legal Shield is a great resource.
Yeah, we talked about Legal Shield before, but I definitely want to say that when you have the framework of an LLC, then you can start putting those things together, putting your contracts together and whatnot. I would highly recommend that, you can just create something very simple, or you can get like a company like Legal Shield to create something a little bit more complex, or they would advise you like, maybe you guys should do this. So that's how we got our contract together. And it wasn't a really strenuous process because we were both on the same page before anything popped off, right? We were just on the same page about what we wanted and the goal that we wanted. So it was nothing to us to put this contract together because we're going in the same direction. So
we're like-minded too, because sometimes when you're with people who they don't do that, it's just like, why I gotta sign a contract? No, like we're on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. Being on the same page. So that definitely was something that we had to work on. But the biggest thing also was that we were investing in ourselves. I know it's very tempting to want to look for investors when you're first starting out, but from someone who has investors in my other companies, no one wants to invest in people who don't invest in themselves. No one wants to invest in people who don't invest in themselves. So if you feel that you're just going to get an investor off of an idea, first and foremost, you're not putting a lot in, which means that you're not going to be as protective because you haven't really invested in anything. People come up with ideas all the time, but when you actually put your money into something, you're like, hold up, you spent what on what? Doing what?
Yeah.
That's the
and even Devin last week talked about that, like when he spoke about creating a sizzle reel. Is that what the sizzle reel? He said, invest like 10 to 15K or however much if you can get somebody to do it for cheaper. 5K. Even if you just know a bunch of film students who are going to do it for the jug, whatever, but you still have to invest something in the sizzle reel. So then it's like a studio or somebody will want to pick up your project, but that's still investing in yourself. You're still putting the money up front. And like Tish said, who wants to invest in somebody that doesn't invest in themselves? It shows that you're not serious.
Yeah, and I understand the whole pitching a deck, pitching like your ideas and things like that. And I think that's a great thing, but it's something about a person who takes that extra initiative that always will make everybody want to jump on board. Right. Taking that extra initiative, it always does something. And this is like over time, seeing people do it years and years and years. It's a commonality. It's like, well, I did this extra little thing.
Right.
This extra little thing. And you're thinking, well, now I got to do that extra little thing. It's not the fact that you have to do exactly what that person did. It's just the fact that that person decided to go one step further with their business or their business plan, or putting their business together, or having their paperwork together to show that much more professionalism and how serious they really are about their dream and their vision.
Right.
So, I know
that let's also talk about what type of identifying, like what type of investor are you? Because at the end of the day, as a grown adult, everybody invests in something. You're either investing in your dreams, you're either investing in real estate, you're either investing in stock, whatever. And Robert Kiyosaki, your children. For business purposes, Robert Kiyosaki, he talks about that. He says, whatever you invest in, you have to be passionate about it, because when the highs and lows of business happen, when you lose money or you gain money, you'll be able to withstand that. And I literally had a conversation with my friends maybe like 2 weeks ago about this. I said, my financial advisor was like, Darquoia, we're really not going to put that much money into your stock and whatnot because you're not a risky investor. And I said, that kind of offended me a little bit, because I was like, well, I do want to invest. But what I realized is, and I told him, I said, no, that's not true. I am a risky investor, but I'm only risky when it comes to something that I'm passionate about, which is my business. So I take financial risk in business with my dreams. Whereas when it comes to stock or when it comes to real estate, I'm not doing that, because when the lows happen and I lose money, I'm gonna die. But we spend money all the time, Tish, where it's like, oh, okay, well, we invested in this and then maybe it didn't work out, but I can handle that because I'm riding the wave. I'm passionate about this. So if you are clearly on this show and you're an artist and entrepreneur, you're the type of person where you're gonna spend money. I mean, I can't even tell you how much money I've spent on my dream at this point. Like
a lot of money. A lot of money. Yeah, and I also, like, when we're talking about investing in yourself, guys, too, I'm not talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm just talking about taking it step by step. And this isn't for I'm going to be clear. This isn't for everybody. You have people who are, they're like, they gotta do it. I gotta do it now. And for them, and I've seen that personality, you know, they're fast talkers. They got to get it now. They're not very patient with themselves nor their dreams. They want somebody to just pick it up. Like, I've seen it all, you know, but the people that I see come around and achieve, and you're like, hold up. Now they're doing what? Is the people who they invested in themselves and they put it out there and they just kept doing it over and over again. Right. And I know I'm gonna bring up this person, Dominique Fishback. She created her own show.
Went to school with her. I remember when she was I remember because she graduated from undergrad at Pace when I graduated grad school. And I remember she was like, yeah, for my thesis, I wrote my own one-woman show, so come check it out. Now, I wasn't able to see the show, but I have literally watched her transformation as she started her one-woman show. That, like, allowed her to be able to get her agents and representation, and just, you know, like her first, like, guest role on a show, and then as a series regular, and then getting films. And now she's doing a film with Jamie Foxx. And I remember her posting on Facebook, literally, guys. I remember
Daniel Kaluuya. She's doing a film with Daniel Kaluuya too.
Oh, and Daniel Kaluuya. Yes. And I remember when she was posting on Facebook when she was like maybe like a year after she had graduated or two, and she was like talking about how she was going to work at Barnes & Noble so she would have more time to audition. And, you know, her mother, she talks about how her mother was like very instrumental in like helping her with her career and, you know, to get to where she wanted to be. But she created her own opportunity, and that seed, she's like reaped the benefits like over and over and over again. So she's a living example and testimony of somebody that, I mean, I know her. Like, I mean, I don't know her like personally, but like we went to school together, so I've seen the transfer.
Yeah, but that lets you know that, like, in order for her to get her next opportunity, she had to invest something into her own dreams. She had to invest something into creating an opportunity.
Yeah.
And she treated it because she got a professional venue, you know, she got the show together. She put all those things, she put money into that.
And I talked to one of her friends, I think at H&M one year when I was in grad school, and they even, the guy was even talking about, even before then, she had been doing spoken word and poetry. Right. Like, she had been hustling for a long time. She's from Brooklyn. She had been investing into herself, including her education, including her thesis, for years. So this is what, like, her success is literally years of like investing in herself.
But she's a performer, but somebody had to write her show. Do you get what I'm saying? Somebody had to write her poetry. So that was a skill. That's a skill. Writing is a skill. You know, she took her time. She knew she was good at it. She knew that she was talented at being an actress, and she took a skill and she made it a transferable skill into what it is that she's doing right now. She made it a transferable skill. She knew that she was capable of doing that, right? And she put it all together and she created her own opportunity, and it's worked for her. So what we're trying to get you guys to do is create your own opportunities by completing a goal. Mm-hmm. Completing a goal. That's just, it doesn't have to be all of that, guys. All you need to do is complete one goal. One goal, right? For us, it was we wanted to complete this album. We completed it, and then we set a second goal. We want to start a publishing company. We started a publishing company. There was a third goal. We want to get videos for our songs. We got our videos. Then it was like, oh, there's a new opportunity that comes our way. Now we're talking to parents. Now, because as we were creating, we were also letting people know what we were doing. So that all of a sudden, because we created this opportunity, people are like, oh yeah, you know, Park Slope Kids, you know, maybe we can post in this group. Oh yeah, you want to know what? This is a form of social emotional learning. What? A form of what? We thought we were just going to motivate the kids. You know, we thought we were just going to put out a form of entertainment for the kids to encourage them. We learned then it was an educational tool.
Right.
Had we not created the content that we created, we would not have known that it was a form of social emotional learning, which means that now what we're doing is we're putting together a program. And that program will aid in social emotional learning. Now, had we not started our first goal of just creating something, of doing something that is an asset to us that we could put out into the world and make money from and use it as a catalyst for our dreams and vision. And please believe, guys, when we started to do this, we clearly defined what we wanted from this. Bessie said, you want to know what? I want to put it out there because I'm a host. You know, I'm always working with kids. I can get in front of these people. I can entertain. I'm like, yeah, you know, I want to have another business where I can make more money, where I can retire by the time that I'm 40 so I can have another asset. So we clearly put what our intentions were out there for that. It wasn't unrealistic for us. They were very tangible, clear intentions. But in the way that we set them, it really directed the way that we were going to move with our business. And we created a business plan. Liveplan.com, guys. You can go to liveplan.com. It's like $15 a month. And they just ask you questions about your business plan, and you just answer the questions. And when you don't know the answer, you do a little research, and then you come back. And by the time a week and a half goes by, you have a plan. And it's just that simple. You don't have to get into the craziness, and you know your business plan is going to develop over a period of time like ours have. Like we started with, we wanted to start a publishing company and put out a couple books and put out music. Now it's like, we want to aid in social emotional learning. Right. So from that one idea that turned into a goal, that turned into something that we became very passionate about creating something now that aids in education. I mean, I think it was always kind of like we were on the line of that. I think
looking at Sesame Street and whatnot.
Yeah, it was on the line of that. I don't think once you start putting things out there, it's going to be clearly defined how you are going to be able to take that and use it for your own purposes. You don't know, you're not going to know all the answers. So when you say, you know what, I want to start a YouTube channel, don't start it with, I'm starting a YouTube channel because I know what the end goal is, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes you start one thing and it can be like, I didn't know I was going to get this opportunity. And it changes. You are simply doing this, guys, so it can get you your next opportunity.
Right.
That's what opportunities mean.
What that really is just like making your mission really clear and your core values. So like when you're starting, like if you were starting a YouTube channel, I mean, you can see people on YouTube, their careers go places and go to heights that they didn't even dream of, the brands that they start working with, the opportunities that come from that. But I think that one thing that is very clear is they all know that they have this skill and they have this talent that they want to share with the world. They get their niche they identify their niche, whether they're doing like fashion and lifestyle or cooking or whatever, and they know their mission. They know like what they're there to do, what they want to give to their audience, and then they know their core values. They know this is what I'm gonna do. Either everything goes on my channel, or you know what, I really want my channel to be about God and spirituality, or I really want my channel to be about positivity. But like Tish said, it's not really about knowing the end goal, but being very specific about what you want to put out into the world. That I think that sometimes even I know that I can get that confused.
Yeah, and also what it allows you. I wrote on a post on Instagram what creating allows you to do as well, and what taking risks allows you to do as well is it helps you to identify the people who will want to work with you. It helps you to identify. So if you know that you're creating children's albums, then you know that that's specifically what you're looking for. And you know that you align yourself with the right people. And maybe it's just one or two people. It doesn't have to be a whole bunch of people you align yourself with. And then that becomes something else. And then all of a sudden, people are reaching out to you because you're aligning yourself with a specific type of person. Now, a person who does this really, really well is Tabitha Brown. We talked about her before. She does vegan shows on she does a vegan cooking on Instagram for those who, want to become vegans. Now, when I look at a lot of her stuff, I see that the people that she aligns herself with, they all fit that core group, that core value. And I will call it a value because she believes in eating healthy in a specific way, right? So that is something that she values. So the people who follow her, the people that she works with, the people she aligns herself with, they all have that same duality as she has. So I think that when you're making your next opportunity, be very specific. I know that it's very difficult, artists. We want to appeal to the whole entire world, but be authentic in your specificity. Be authentic about who you are, and don't think that you need to make something up. When we decided to create this podcast, I was like, I know about business. I know about creating opportunities. I know about helping all these people and giving them resources. And I don't want to do anything outside of what it is that I know that I can tangibly do. But I also know that I'm a talented actress. I know that I'm on the track of being a talented director. And that's not going to stop me from doing that. But what it helps me when I'm out here helping you guys it helps me align with people just like you guys out there who want to create their own opportunities, who are looking for new and emerging filmmakers, who are looking for people like myself and Darkoya to align ourselves with you as well. So just know that that's the reason why you take a leap of faith. But I'm going to bring this back full circle. It always comes back to your mindset. Yeah. It always comes back to the mindset that you're in.
And, I want to specifically talk to one of our friends posted Crystal Thompson, Crystal Williams now, because she is very Crystal Williams. They have a podcast called Foolish Things. You guys go check it out. It's streaming on all platforms. But she posted and she said, "This is the podcast that I wish I had when I was in grad school." And just piggybacking off of what Tish said, when you are graduating from grad school or just school in general, let me just, so that way it penetrates a little bit deeper for those our youngins on here, because we're stepping out of that category, Tish. But I can't for the youth, I can't emphasize what Tish said enough. everybody and everything is not going to be for you. I remember being in your shoes, being like, well, I want to be like this. And I want to seem commercial, but I also want to seem dramatic. So let me try to go here in the middle, but then also have a look for this and also have a look for that. And that's so draining. I'm sorry, but that's so draining. And honestly, it gets you nowhere. And I know that you are, if you're listening and you're fresh out of school, I know you're scared. I know the world is your oyster and you just want to succeed and you just want to win. But let me tell you, the more that you can just be your authentic self and the things that make you unique, you lean into that and you don't worry about, well, am I not going to get this opportunity or not get, be able to work with this person or work in this area. Like that is what's going to set you on fire. You are going to be literally lit. Okay. I don't know if anybody's telling you this. I'm telling you this. It will light up your life. I wish I did that back then. I wish I was authentically and unapologetically Darkoya. And it took some age and some wisdom and going through some things to realize that you just got to be this and you. But let me tell you something. If you know that you are a nerd, get into your nerd bag. If you know that you are bubbly, get into your bubbly bag. If you know that you are super sarcastic and cynical, get into your sarcastic and cynical bag. If you know you only want to work in this area or film or television or business, do it. Don't let nobody tell you that artists don't make money or painters or poets. This day and age, you can make money in any industry. You just have to figure out how to capitalize. That is a lie. That is a lie that chefs don't make money. Is a lie that painters don't make money and that, these people make the money. No. The money's there if you want it. Like, I just have to say that because it's the people graduating, Tish. Like, they need it.
No, I agree. And I just feel like, it's something about talking about authenticity, right? One thing that I find is that no one can replicate who you are. Let me tell you, working as a line producer, unit production manager for nearly 10 years in this industry, no one can replicate what I do. Now, the information might be out there, but my work ethic, how I do things, how I put it together, no one can replicate it. I do things my way, the way that I do it, and the way that it works for some people, and then some people it doesn't work with. Right. But the people that it does work with, guess what? I'm aligning myself with them. Mm-hmm. We are becoming lifelong, work buddies, and it works for them. So don't think because of what Darkoya is saying that you are shutting the door, because guess what? If you're shutting the door for them, they're not for you anyway.
Mm-hmm. And to talk about too the opportunities you've gotten where like people have not, like you thought it was for you and it wasn't, and the nightmare that it was. Like,
let me tell you, it's been so many times where my intuition told me, because you want to do everything. My intuition told me, and I'll come to Darkoya and I'll be like, you know what, Darkoya, I really shouldn't do this. I really shouldn't do this. This is just not for me. They don't match. It's something about them that doesn't match the way that I like to work. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I want to take this job anyway because maybe it'll do this and maybe it'll help me. And then halfway through it, I'm like, why the heck?
Mm-hmm. That gift, you have the gift of discernment. God gave you the gift of discernment. You got to use it.
But not only that, I'm like, why did I do this? Mm-hmm. It's not worth it. The money's not worth it. The amount of stress is giving me, cystic fibrosis.
Oh, come on, cool.
I'm just saying. Gotta put it.
You better be real on this podcast.
Put it out there.
I'm over you, bestie. I'm not doing with you today. Oh wait, hold on. I think you're stalled. Okay, she's stalled. This is how we cut up, y'all. Anyway, so yeah, for those of you on here, you don't have to do it all. I wish that I would have known that. I wish I would have known that when I graduated from grad school. So we're having some technical difficulties, but yeah, everybody is not for you. That's one of the reasons why I'm best friends with Tish. You know, you definitely need somebody who's, oh, here she comes.
There I am.
I was telling the folks, you know, that's why we're best friends, because you need somebody, you need a bestie, you need a business bestie, life bestie, who's kind of going to help you navigate that too. Cause sometimes you just don't know. And that is pretty scary when you're trying to figure out who is for you and who's not for you.
And also I would say have self-compassion, because I've made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes when it comes to choosing the right people who are for me and who aren't for me. I've made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. But in the end, I've had to tell myself, like, listen, you know, you've had to learn from this so that the next position or the next project that you can do, you can just say, you want to know it? No. It was that devastating and it was that bad of experience that I'll never do it again. And sometimes for people who are hard-headed like myself, that's what it takes. But if you're a person who you're just like, you know what, I'm just not going to do that, doesn't feel right, great for you. because my hard-headed behind. That's what it's
like. Nobody does that. Whoever says that, I don't believe that.
Yeah, but that's what it took. That's what it took for me. You know, so I just think that don't be so hard on yourselves, guys. You give yourself also room to fail, because I don't think any entrepreneur that succeeded ever just 100% knew everything. They just, you know, they failed, they made mistakes, and they were able to pick themselves back up and do it again. And I mean, I can't even talk about the Alibaba guy. How many times did he make mistakes? How many times did he fail, start a company and then fail, and then start a company? And for me, I got anxiety about how many times.
Hearing the story?
Yeah. If you guys look up his bio, it was like he started this, failed, started that, failed, started that. It was like a 10-year process of failing. Mm-hmm. It was a 10-year process of failing. Yeah, but now he's, you know, one of the richest men in the world. And, you know, that goes to tell you that there is no set way for you to get where you need to be at. But I do think that, you know, mindset has a lot to do with what you feel about what you think you deserve. Right. And what I'm going to say to everybody out there is that don't let anybody tell you that you deserve anything less than what you feel like you deserve. Mm-hmm. And I mean that in a way of humility, not in a way of ego, because you can take that in an egotistical way too. Like, I deserve.
But also on the other hand, where I feel like for me, also don't undervalue yourself, because there have been times where I asked for a number, got the number, was happy with the number, and didn't even realize that I actually should have asked for more. And that the job that I was doing, I actually should have been being paid more. And I had to like go back and go get that money. So, you know, don't put limitations on yourself. So I do that a lot. Sometimes I'm like, well, I can see myself doing this and getting this and that, but there's no limit. It's limitless. That's one thing that I am stopping in my 30s, is putting limitations on like what I think is wealthy, what I think is making good, what I think is making good money, what I think is a great opportunity. I'm no longer only going to sit in my own consciousness about what is possible for me and the heights that I can actually achieve. Like you never know.
I definitely agree. Well, guys, I think we've kind of like went over some ways that we've created our own opportunities. We've kind of given you some ideas of how you can create your own. And we want you to take that and take the first step. Start by just kind of like outlining what you are really good at, what your skills are, and, you know, really just determining, you know, whether or not it's the right place or the right time for you to create that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I know that we always say the time is now, but we mean the time is now for those who are ready for it, who are ready to take their first step, who are ready to commit to making and taking an opportunity. So this is for you. This is for you out there. And for those who are thinking about it, you know, get yourself in a space to where you feel like you're right and you're ready to take that opportunity. And if that takes a little while, then so be it. So be it, because you don't want to start something that you quit.
Right.
I would rather you spend the time on yourself, and getting yourself in the mindset and getting ready for it.
Or if you need a business bestie and an accountability buddy, you can message us on Instagram. You can message us on Facebook, you know, and we will help you. I mean, literally, if I can answer a question or give you a resource, and Tish is the same way, if she can answer a question or give you a resource or help you, we literally have hearts to help people. Like, God created us and designed us to be able to help other people. I don't know what it is about the two of us, but we love helping.
And I will definitely whip you into shape.
And Tish will definitely, she is.
Give you the resources. Yes. And more importantly, because I have plenty of people that I consult, and more importantly, it's about the confidence. I want to give you the confidence to be able to reach your goal, to get it done, to create new opportunities, and to be the best version of yourself.
Yes. And I can motivate you, because I know, you know, sometimes we all need a little compassion.
Yes, we do. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for another episode of Too Legit to Quit, where you can get it done with Tish.
And be on your come up with Koya.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week. We love you.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.